Hi everyone, this is Jared, AC7WH, Backyard Ham Radio. And this is another one of my unboxing videos. You can check out my previous unboxing video by clicking on the link that you'll see up above as well as down below. Now before I get started, I want to show you something that's pretty interesting to me. So that is these special labels. I removed the labels from the boxes, and these labels are quite interesting. And I did some research. I'll include a link down below for you to check out. But let's see what the model number is. It is an AZMRZN. Let me see if you can see that. And these are little RFID labels that come from the Arizon company, if I'm pronouncing that right. It's spelled like Arizona, but without the A on the end. And this particular model, the AZMR7N, that is a particular RFID tag that resonates with 860 to 960 megahertz, so UHF, but they also have some information about HF, and I did some research and I found out that certain types of RFID can be UHF, like those, or they can be HF. I saw something about, I think it was 13.96 megahertz for, I want to say NFC, near field communications. And then there was some other type of communication that's LF, so low frequency, in the 100 some kilohertz range. So I think it was the mid 100s kilohertz. So quite interesting. Just so happens that this is radio related, and yet those tags were also radio related. Quite fascinating to think that there could be an HF type of communication that's just below the frequency of the 20 meter band that's used for near field communications. So I think it was like tap to pay and things like that. Quite fascinating. I'd recommend looking into that more if that's a topic that interests you, but I will include the one link for those labels down below. This is not sponsored by them or collaborated with them or anything like that, but I found it fascinating. All right, let's go ahead and start with the long box. Let's see what I have here. Now I will admit, sometimes these boxes are a little tricky because of how they are not only taped up but glued up, but let's just see what can be done here. Okay. Now these are some items that I've been doing research on for quite some time, and just so you know, I am hoping to get into some more actual POTA. Those who have followed my videos know I've talked about POTA quite a bit, and even the POTA 33H heavy-duty carbon fiber mast, but I've not actually done a POTA myself, although I have spoken with probably a few different ham radio operators who were doing POTA activations and so forth. So I've spoken with them on the air, but for me to actually go out to a state park or a federal park and activate POTA myself, I have not done yet. All right, let's see if this is going to start to open up for me. Yeah, I was kind of wondering that. It looks like I'm going to have to, oh, well, number one, get the other side, evidently. Let's see what we've got here. But yes, I am looking forward to doing some mobile POTA, maybe another type of POTA in the future as well. But let's see what we can find out here. All right, I think if I just slit this part here, I'll be able to get this open without a problem. As you can tell, I ordered these items from DX Engineering. I had been ordering a lot from HRO, Ham Radio Outlet, as well as from Gigaparts. But I thought, you know what? Let's try DX Engineering. Okay, good. I finally got it open. It's certainly packed in here. I think that is it. The rest is packing. Let's find out for sure. They really do pack this in here. All right. Lots of packing. But that's good. Especially since, as you can see, UPS or someone did end up slightly scrunching the box, but with all that padding in there, everything's fine. Yep, looks like everything's good in there. It's dark, but it's empty. Okay. What is this? This is a Comet 7 megahertz HFB, meaning base loaded as opposed to the HFC center loaded antenna. I like how it has the Japanese characters on there. And I've done some research, and even though I have some MFJ antennas that are for mobile portable use, and I've also got some, let's see, I guess it's one chameleon antenna. This is my first Comet antenna, and I really liked and admired what Comet has shared, like just the way that they go about things and their attention to detail. I really admire that. So let's see what I can find in here. Okay, it's kind of stuck, but I want to be careful. That's kind of cool. I guess I sort of saw online, but I didn't expect it to be fully, I guess you would say, anodized. So the antenna is black. So that's kind of stylish too, especially if someone wants to have more of a permanent installation. That's not bad, really. And let's get this out. Now this is an SO239 PL259 type connector. In other words, a UHF style, to use that term. Let's see if I can get it out of here. The trick is getting it past what might be some sort of instructions. Yeah, that's what it is. Let's get that out of there real quick. And it's going to make it a lot easier, I presume, to get things moving along. Now they make these for a variety of bands. Comes with a little Allen wrench, Allen key, whatever you want to call it. Hex key wrench is what they call it in the instructions. But they've got one of these for 80, 40, 30, 20, 17, 15, 12, 10, and 6 meters. I'm liking what I'm seeing already. Impedance 50 ohms, of course. VSWR 1.5 or less at center frequency. Connector PL259. And the 40 meter 7 megahertz one is 1.6 meters long and weighs 340 grams. Now, one thing I did notice here is it says frequency is 7.0 to 7.2 megahertz. I was looking for one that would be a little bit higher in the frequency than that. But we'll see how this does. Perhaps I may end up needing a tuner. We'll find out. I'm curious what it shows the frequency is with the center mounted ones, but that'll be something for another time. But I definitely like this, so let's see. VSWR characteristic. So it kind of shows what I'd be looking at here. So plus or minus 15 kilohertz. All right, pretty narrow band, but we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. I will say I do like what I see with the LDG tuners that are really portable. But let's go ahead and set this aside, and let's get out the antenna itself. This is also good to 250 watts PEP, so that's nice. In fact, before I get too far here, let's look at something else. So again, this is the HFB-40. And I'm looking at the power rating just in case it gives me some more specifics. Not really seeing it on here, but I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it. But the main thing is 250 watts PEP. I don't plan to use it for any more than 100 watts. And most of the time I'm planning on around 50 watts. So that should be fine. Okay, let's see if we can get this to come out of here now. The trick is to get it past this Comet label. All right, let me see. Everything takes patience. Sometimes more, sometimes less. Wonder if this is like a type of sticker or if it's actually part of the package. Yeah, it feels like it's part of the package because that ain't budging. Okay, that's fine. So let's just see if we can get the antenna out then. If I can't get it out in a moment, I'll pause so you don't have to watch all of this or fast forward through. Oop, ha 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 ha. It's working. And there it is. I love that slim profile. It's so much slimmer than my antenna that works for 40 meters. That is from 40 meters to, I want to say 2 meters. That's from MFJ, but it has a loading coil and all that. But that one can handle, depending on different types of modes and so forth, about 1,000 watts, so it is beefier. But this one, let me let you look at how the coil is there. And the antenna will go up in here. I'm not going to fully assemble this at this time, but it's pretty obvious to see how that's going to go together here. It's going to go in that slot. So not too bad. Really like the design overall. Okay, now the big boy, Let's see what we got. Lots of tape on this one. So, I'm sure you could tell from the title, this is a Yaesu radio, but not just any Yaesu. It is the FT-891. Now, I will admit, with all those FT model numbers, it is a little bit tricky for me to keep them straight, because I have the Yaesu FT-DX10, and then I think my brother has the Yaesu FT-817ND, but this is the Yaesu FT-891. Okay, let us see how this is going. It won't offend me if somebody wants to fast forward past this part. By the way, fun fact, when I watch YouTube videos, 90% of the time, maybe more than that, no matter what the topic, I watch at 2 times speed because I like to gather a lot of information quickly. It may seem to some like, hey, that's impossible. How can you actually hear the details? Well, if it's something extremely detailed, yes, I will go ahead and listen to it at a slower speed. But generally speaking, I'm going to listen at 2 times speed because I can get so much more information in a short period of time. And I can maximize my time because there's only so much time in the day because you're having to sacrifice time for something. So I would rather hear those videos at a faster speed and then to sacrifice that much more time. Now this box design is interesting. Instead of it having a crease up here at the top, the crease is on this side and this side. So that's an interesting little box design feature, and I don't want to destroy anything here. I'm going to be careful, but I'm going to try slitting this tape carefully. Let me see if that's going to help me here. Ah, that's how that works. I went a little deep on that side, but didn't hurt anything. Okay, let us see. Very different type of box design, I'll tell you that. They have it packed nicely, go figure. I'll move that out of the way. Very nice. Oh yes, my other items. Nice little sticker. Everybody's advertising with stickers these days, I would say. But I do like the X engineering. Okay, this is a pre-assembled power pole connector cable, 6 feet, from westmountainradio.com. And it's got the 4-pin connector. Very nice. Let's go ahead and pull that out, might as well. It's got the heat shrink tubing on it. And those power poles, very nice. And what's that going to hook up to? It's going to hook up to this. Cigarette lighter plug, also from West Mountain Radio. There are a number of brands out there that provide these. I am curious if Comet has one that's comparable to this. They have their certain brand. I would have to double check what that one is. Oh, I think it's called Revolt. Emphasis on volt because it's for 12 volt products and so forth. But here is this adapter. Looks like it's going to work just fine. Very nice, very nice. And they have a variety of different connectors and so forth. Now I know for one of these I couldn't seem to find the wire size, whereas the other one I could. But, oh yeah, I guess that's pretty similar for each individual wire. I think it's 14 gauge AWG. All right, well, let's continue here. Let's see what else we've got. I'm noticing a theme. Comet's products tend to have green on them. And then the label in here, this is small and powerful magnet mount. It's got RG58A/U. It's a 5-meter cable. Japan, okay. Yes, I don't want to get this near my credit card or wallet or anything like that. But let's see what this is like. Now, I'm going to take a quick look, see what the camera's seeing, just to make sure you all can still see that properly. Oh yeah, looks like that's looking great. Good deal. Perfect. Okay. Now I have one of these from MFJ that uses the 3/8 type thread. But this one is for the UHF connector, SO239 and so forth. Oh yeah, I really like the feel of this. Very nice. I can tell it's made quite well. Here is that connector there. Let's just see what this is like. Oh yes, it's good to not hang on to this base too much when you're twisting something, because you don't want to damage it. Looks like this actually has a gold connector plating in there in the magnet mount. This, by the way, is the CM-5M. Let's take a look at what we've got here. I will say, if you have one metal, in this case it looks like some form of possibly aluminum or soldered connection, and you're putting that into a gold-plated connection, those metals can react, even with gold. It's worth looking into, but let's see how this goes. Dissimilar metals you have to watch for. You might be surprised. I did some research on that not long ago. Oh yeah, I really like that. It's a lot easier to deal with than that 3/8 thread type, in my opinion. All right. Let's go ahead and move this out of the way. All right. Now, the biggest purchase in a way. That's a sound. Okay. This box is a little bit interesting, like I was saying. But here we go. Yaesu FT-891 HF and 50 megahertz transceiver. All right, let's see what we got here. This box looks a little bit slightly puffy in my opinion. Probably a lot more padding, but we'll see. All right, got the limited warranty card. All right, lots of fine print. That's okay. I heard there are two manuals, and I guess that's what this is. That's the quick manual. I've been watching some videos online to try to prepare for using this. The menus aren't that bad if you know what you're doing. And it doesn't look like it takes that much practice. And then here's the full operating manual, by the way. Another one of these Yaesu stickers. Bracket, nice. I am not planning to permanently install this in my Maverick, but I am planning to be able to take it with me easily and set it up and take it down. Fuse, screws. Here's some more like threaded bolts, basically, little bolts with a Phillips screw head. The microphone. Looks fairly typical for a Yaesu mic, but very nice, in my opinion. And it's unique type of connector jack. More hardware for mounting it. I'm going to slip that back in that box so that it stays together with where it came from. Now I'm not going to take this all out right now, but this is the power cord, obviously. Let's see if the connector looks the same. Yep, connector is that 4-pin connector. Very nice. All right. And for a second I thought this was more hardware. It is not hardware. It is the face of a radio. Not a bad face, if you ask me. It says, do not install in front of a heater vent or exposed to direct sunlight for long periods. In other words, put it in your vehicle where the sun's not going to get to it. I would like to know what sort of heat this is rated for, because if I were to ever leave it in my vehicle, it could easily get way over 100 degrees. There's so many stories about that. That's why it's not safe to leave children or pets in a vehicle. I'm curious if the manual will tell me here if I check briefly. Don't worry, I don't plan to take long on this. Let's see, specifications. 100 watts, 40 watt AM carrier. Okay, it's more than I was thinking. For some reason I thought it would be 25 watts. Nice. It talks about how much power it draws. 13.8 volts DC plus or minus 15%, negative ground. Received 2 amps, transmit 23 amps. Definitely recommend testing it yourself or doing some research if you need to get down to the individual amp for how many watts you're putting out. There's some great information, great information online about that. Yeah, I'm not noticing anything. Aha! Nope. Okay, that's just talking about its frequency stability. I was looking for overall temperature, but it's talking about minus 10 Celsius to plus 50 Celsius for frequency stability. I guess that gives an idea, but perhaps I'll learn more about that soon. 50 Celsius is obviously pretty hot, well over 100 Fahrenheit. Okay. I will say there is a small part of this box that didn't travel so well. Maybe the way they shipped it or something, packed it. I doubt that would be by shipping, but it looks like that ripped out just a little bit when it was packed. Not a big deal, but interesting nonetheless. Between it being packed and me unpacking it. Okay, let's see if we can get the radio out itself. Trickier than it looks. It's like catching on something right there. There we go. All right, I think that is it. Let's scoot these boxes a little. Okay, there's the heat sink. There's that power connector. I'm not going to go over all the connectors now. I'll just let you take a look at them. Not bad. So there's that interface. Here's the cable for it, the fan. And I think this video is just about done. This is heavier than it looks, but it's not all that heavy. You'll see some mounting spots here, but it's actually one of the lightest, if not the lightest, HF 100 watt transceiver that you can get on the current market. All right, let's put that down here. And I will say this is Jared, AC7WH, Backyard Ham Radio, perhaps soon POTA Radio. We'll find out. In any case, thank you so much for watching, everyone, and 73. Hope to hear you on the air someday. And with that, happy ham radio. Bye-bye, everyone.